and 2 and 3 and 4.
Ooh!
2 and 3.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at round 4, match number 3. It is avex RoyalBrats versus KOSE 8ROCKS. Now what we do know is KOSE 8ROCKS was off in round 3, and RoyalBrats lost against DYM Messengers the previous round, and they hadn't been doing too well against their opponents when it comes to the routines that they've had, but it does not mean that their quality of movement is subpar. They just got unlucky because one of the best routines I think I will probably see in the entire season was against those Katakata Dreams against them conveniently. And then DYM, that round, those judges really cared about style, and that influenced a lot of the scoring. For this round, I'm noticing that concept justification is mattering a lot more than what's normal, I think, for this round in particular. So keep that in mind. I may use that as like how I think the judges are gonna go. For me, I try not to justify my perspective off of concept because it's just too subjective to base that. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look at this matchup.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 3, 4.
There you go.
5 and 6 and 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5.
Nice.
1, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1.
The traveling on this is phenomenal.
7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3.
Yep, that reminds me of Kenichi because this is one of Kenichi's featured on this.
4, 5, and 6.
Very polyrhythmic. Ooh.
5 and 6 and 7 and
This
8.
feels like
2, 3.
a more extroverted version of Accelerate that they did in round 2. So I'm so glad they're doing this this concept again. I really love it, or at least the construct of following the music.
5, 6, and 7.
Nice.
And 2 and 3 and 4.
Ooh.
2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and a 1 and a 2 and 3. 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 6, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and a 2 and 3, a 40 and a 5. And
So satisfying.
and
Yes.
2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6 and 80 and a 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, a 80 and 2, 4, 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and a 6 and a 7 and 8.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was freaking awesome. Okay, from the top, it's called Complication. So I'm assuming with this track in particular, it's just somebody counting. Nothing happening until the 7. So that was a really fun start. Now, Kenichi Katsumatsu. So I do know him, and I do know probably my first time that I've ever actually seen his work was it was waving. And it was to a metronome, and so there's a little tribute there, so I think that's kind of cool. Just 7 and 8, just the amount of synchronicity that was required to do this very well. This was really good. I'm hopeful. I'm honestly, as much as I love KOSE 8ROCKS, I'm really hopeful that they're able to pull out a win with this, because I really enjoyed their set with Accelerate, and it felt similar in nature, at least within the realm of exploration, and I didn't want them to feel hindered in that because of them getting shut out. So I'm hoping that this one's going to be more competitive, which, based on what we're seeing, if KOSE 8ROCKS ain't not crispy clean, they should be taking the perfection category in terms of the synchronicity side, because that's what I feel like that 5th one, because the criteria is skill, creation, choreography, style, and perfection. for me, once again, very broad, and there's so many categories that you could have chosen, but for that's what they translate to. Perfection, category 5, I'm assuming should be based off of synchronicity and timing. I don't know though. I'm assuming, is that like overall, do I like it? I don't know. But going from here, let's analyze it. I love it. Love how they do the speed, that switch with the upper body before letting the feet do a little ball change. On this part, they did start a little bit simpler with the swings. Very clean though on the range. Like their range is in freaking check. 7, 8. And I love how it went from the every other and then it bleeds down along a column. Speed change, gorgeous. Only 4 of them move. The other 4, great job on the speed change. Some of them turn the other way, having the 2. Yep, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now I feel like, hold on. The only person who didn't do it was my guy over here. He's the only one who didn't bring his arms up, so I wonder if that was a mistake that was made. I think it was. I know you forgot. So that's a little note there. But notice that timing was right, but the range was off on that part. Love this right here. Basic. That's like a basic tutting, but they're matching on tempo. This part's really cool. Going backwards, reversing. Gosh, this is like, they're a walking drill set. Like this is perfect if you wanted to drill tutting. Like this is so cool. And then they go right back to their spots. God, that's so cool. Now the range of who they're partnered with, because notice everybody's kind of has a partner, they are keeping the distance of their spacing while they're moving, and that is so impressive. That's something that captivated me about Accelerate that they did, because it was so interesting some of the choices they made whenever with the lighting and how they were getting into their formation. Like this was freaking sick. I love this. Now here's something that I would want to be, you know, this concept right here, I have seen Kenichi do it. So for me, this is not new. They're just paying tribute, is what it feels like, to Kenichi, because this is his feature track, right? So now if the judges are like, I've never seen anything like it, it just validates the fact that concept is subjective, because this is not old. I love that they have to travel it. Now the thing is the range is going to be slightly off because they have to compensate for the amount of traveling that they have to do. They have to stay in place here, but they have to travel it and actually make the formation the way they want to. So notice, and this is our first like major spacing issue, but it's not even big. It's just the spacing between those two guys as they pan out. Really nice. Yeah, really, really, really nice to see this with the footwork. Then having them turn and then they have to go the opposite direction. This is freaking sick. Going to the column and then branching it out. My God, that was so seamless. Same exact thing that they're doing. Ding, 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 ding. They're varying it up, doing the same footwork. This is a polyrhythm drill if you ever see one, because you're riding a completely different rhythm in the lower half as you are in the upper half. Super nice. I love the rolling right into it. That's super dope. Bringing it through. So that goes around, ding, ding, and then they reverse it, ding, ding, ding. Love it. Switches to the other side. Love the wave with the pull through. Love that. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So Junpei is the only one that wasn't joined in on that from the back row. I think it's totally fine because he joins in with the group of 3. And then level representation there. Really nice. Love that hitting here. Boom, 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 boom. Nice and slow. God, that's so good. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's subtle and effective. This is dope. I love that, having your group of 4, but they teeter in more of a trapezoid formation. Ding, 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 ding. And then you have your 4 sporadic here. You know, it's in having them, it's just the formation choices are very creative, and I really like that. Wrapping it around. Love the swings. Love that little fly with me vibe. Super fun. Great stability there, because if somebody bobbled, you'd be able to catch it. So that was really nice. Sliding it down. I love this. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Yes, and a 1 and a 2. Notice here, their arms are not on the same page, but theirs are. Theirs doing a pretty good job. And my guy right here, notice his aren't in line with the shoulders, so that would be my note for that.
6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
Yep, 4 and. I love that. Da-da. Now that part, Ada. So they went on 8. They went on the crisp and clean, man. 4. Yep, 1. Playing kind of that cannon cat and mouse situation. Love the energy with the pull up, and then they hinge it. 2 and 3. Switching it through, love that energy, ding ding. Bringing it through, creating a potential of a thread, not quite. Some of them teetering the head down, some are tapping. My note for this would be just commit. Which one are you going to go to? Because we got about half committing to leaning, like leaning the head on the side of the hand. And then you got about half of them that are placing their head on, like their chin on the hand. So that would be something to clarify there. Make that just a little bit cleaner, bringing it up, because notice some people are here and some are here. That does change how your head comes across in that moment. Bringing it through. Also, it showcases some are here and some are here because of that choice that was made earlier. But the range is freaking sick on that part. Click, click. Love the tip-tap-toe on that. A little clap, clap. Boom, bringing it around. Love the seamlessness of that. Switching it through. D-D-D-D-D. Then going right into another polyrhythm, bringing it up nice and suave. Yep, this whole thing really difficult to get everybody on the same page on. Range looks phenomenal on this part. Yep, 6 and a 7 and a. And then they finish on the 8. That was super freaking dope if I saw that. So, I'm very curious what KOSE 8ROCKS brought. So normally they definitely are ones who are competitive on the style score for sure. When it comes to cleanliness, this is going to be really hard to beat for KOSE. And some of their stuff is deceptively difficult. Like this one really feels like they made it so easy, but a lot of their setups, it does take time for your brain to get used to the variants that they brought. So that was very, very impressive. Let's go ahead and take a look at KOSE 8ROCKS. Another tribal perspective on this. It's called Spirit. Oh, that was cool. Oh. Wow. Nice. They're doing a very good job on cleanliness on this. That's something that they have to have because they're against RoyalBrats, and we just saw they did. Wow, yes. Nice. Wow, their breaking range is so freaking impressive. I mean, I know it's KOSE 8ROCKS, their breaking team. I'm just saying, their cleanliness. I mean, oh my god. This is so clean. Wow. Make sure, yeah. Oh my goodness, man. I really wanted Kanekawa to, nope, not Kanekawa, RoyalBrats. I really wanted RoyalBrats to do well. I really feel, though, that KOSE is going to get audience, but I also feel that there's a chance they're probably going to take most of the judges because they were clean. They had style. I mean, here's the thing, RoyalBrats did too, but they may be saying that it was too one-dimensional. They didn't really expand outside of the staccato, and they really kept within. I mean, both represented their concepts well, because I know they care a lot about that this round. Oh, man. Yeah, when it comes to variety, there's a chance that KOSE may beat out on that, but their perfection, there should be pretty close in that regard, which is very impressive. I'm actually very surprised of how clean this was. Very strong, very strong. My goodness, that was clean. How they're coming in, swinging it up. The range of my guys on the outside and the rotation is great. God, that's so impressive. What a start. Grabbing it down, setting it up. Woo! The energy on this is great. Dropping it down with the swing was super cool. Honestly, a really good battle would have been between Katakawa versus KOSE 8ROCKS for this, because they both had more like that tribal kind of aesthetic. And I'm curious what would have happened there, because Katakawa got a shutout from their performance. Here, I mean, KOSE may win like by a large margin just because of how freaking clean this was. Coming up, just the difficulty of their stuff is so interesting. Now, RoyalBrats, theirs was tricky because of the deceptiveness of the polyrhythms. Here, it's the sheer physicality to actually do the movements. It's not as much mental and drilling as it is physical training that is required. When you look at the difficulty, they had more difficult setups. They also had more difficult... There was more difficulty involved in trying to keep it clean, I think is my general note. Ah, man. Switching it through. That was clean. Coming up. Amazing. He just pops it back into a backwards roll like it was freaking nothing. Sliding it into the reverse. They pop up. This right here. Look, a little bit of the ISO with a legato on this. Really nice. Angles are super good. I would say my general note is if you want everybody to kind of match, everyone's looking out to the side. They're all looking down. So that would have been something to clarify if we want everybody looking away or down. Personally, I think this does have a nice stoicness about it, and it matches very well with the tastefulness of the hands, but I also like the bent. So honestly, they could have just made the decision and it would have been a lot cleaner, because notice that it is a little bit more not as quite as itemized or separated as we're seeing on the other side. So that's just my little note for that. Super cool bringing it back in, bringing it through. He did have just slightly a little stiff for the type of technique that he was going for, from something legato going into staccato. Having the more legato he would have been in his torso, that would have struck out a little bit, like it would have stuck out better in a better way if as he came up. So having them branch around, this was cool. Just the simulation of the percussion, super nice. Did a good job of having very polyrhythmic right here. Dun 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 dun. He's syncopating with the hands, but also matching with the pulsing. Very nice. Dropping it down. Now, stuff like that is very easy to get off on your range on the arm. But the first one was a little off. Second one was super clean. Yeah, I would say my guys over on stage left, not quite as refined. That second one of them, he had it more forward versus out in the range. So that would be something to modify. Switching it through. Definitely on the cleaner side than what we've seen from them before. Having a really nice feature moment. God, I love that. Using this little moment right here, as well as doing a lot of top rock variants. Super cool. I wouldn't even call it top rock variants, mostly just a little bit more footwork. I would just call it footwork. The forward roll, super nice with a little alpha kick. Let's go. And then they double time the alpha kick looking forward. Head intention matters there. Then they rock down, forward roll once again, switching it through. Love the 3-dimension of the circle. Very nice to see. This right here, they could have totally dropped the ball on it. Notice that they needed to really match it. So this is honestly the only time where I felt like we were kind of struggling a little bit to maintain this position. Not that they can't do it, but doing it together is the thing that we're looking for. His legs are a little bit too high. They need to make sure that we're using, and we don't want to like overcompensate for that lower back. Regardless of how competent you are, if you want to be able to do this for a long time, you want to make sure you don't overcompensate anything in that lumbar that doesn't need to be there pressure-wise. So having that, they came down. Really great call for them to at least touch the ground at the same time. That really helped salvage that. It was probably the weakest in terms of timing and in the range of how they were getting into it and stability. But if that's the weakest thing that we've seen on the stability side, it shows you the sheer impressiveness of what they just did. Amazing. Hit, hit, hit. Love that we started in opposites. So we're here. So instead of starting like from the inside to out, we started opposites. But my goodness, look at that. That's just, that is amazing. That is very, very impressive. Then having them continue with the feature in the center is super dope. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Did they both do? They both did a double hop. Very impressive. Sliding in, everybody gets to do mirroring of their freezes. Notice his is a little bit straighter, so he needs to bend it just a little bit more, just so they truly match, and you can tell because of the distance between the feet. Love going into the bridge. I'm going to say this: if you turn out, just be mindful of the knee to foot alignment whenever you do a bridge and your knee and your legs are turned out. Yes, you better. I love that. Super nice. I love with the hops. Those are super dope. We do have just like it's quite a smidgen of house integration, like that part right there with the hop, like the chugs and the hops. Honestly, that's more like a farmer, right? But it was just such a great build. I love how he has his moment there, throwing it through, kind of vibing a little into the Afro scene. Helps with the tribal. Right here, builds it up very well. Love with the shootouts, love with the kicks, freeze, breaking it through. He could have made that very muddled, but he did a good job separating. And of course, the style of theirs is breaking, but even then, sometimes when you're wanting to come across very heightened in the speed, that is something that can factor in to the cohesion and cleanliness. This part was really cool. I have seen a trick set up like this before. I don't remember who did it, but it's still very impressive. Maybe it was them. He turns around right there, and then he goes right into a backflip. Does not discredit the impact of how amazing that was, but it is not the first time I have seen a setup like that before. So just keep that in mind. But on the creativity side, it was still very impressive, but it wouldn't have helped their creativity as much as some of their other choices would. Love this was having nice and smooth happening in the back. Actually, there's more tension involved in that. Super fun. But notice some of the range is a little bit overshot, or just making sure everybody's kind of on the same page. I would say my 3 right here are definitely doing it a particular way. These 2 are kind of overshooting, so I would have had these 2 make sure that they're watching the peripherals on the outside for themselves. And then having people in the middle. I love that. Bringing it around. The range on that was super cool to finish it out with a nice hook. Love that. Then they integrate it in the back. It kind of feels like a call and response almost, which definitely helps with what they were going for. I love the thread that joined everybody in. There we go. Round up and then right into a freeze. Goodness gracious. Bringing it around and then having my other 2 join right in. Whoo! So impressive. Back handspring. They do not stop. Then having I love just the rotation to the cartwheel. One of them is just a little bit too late on that cartwheel setup. Then having everybody join right back in, finishing with everybody sliding through, creating a really nice visual at the end, finishing with a headstand, tripod with the straddle. Notice we're trying to make sure we maintain stability. And we finish with our freaking body up in the air with amazing level representation. So for me, if who I would have picked, I would say both routines were phenomenal. Excluding concepts, when you look at the fullness, difficulty, complexity, cleanliness, I mean, both were pretty clean. When it comes to the difficulty of the cleanliness, I would say KOSE 8ROCKS probably took this match. They probably got audience as well, because unless there's an outside factor, but if you're looking at it from if the audience had no affiliations with either crew, the audience would probably pick KOSE 8ROCKS because of just the buildability of it, and the impact of their trick setups. It's definitely very impactful. There's a lot of things about it that are moments that help resonate with you. But with RoyalBrats, the concept's really cool, and a lot of their moments were really nice, but not a lot of it was as memorable as the things that KOSE 8ROCKS brought to the table. Now that can also be deemed, subjective, because how people retain information can be different depending on who you are and your culture and this, that, and the other. I understand that. But whenever you look at, honestly, what's separating these is both had great level representation and difficulty, but KOSE 8ROCKS it was a higher difficulty in their setups and in their levels and progressions, and their music had more complexity as well, and they met it on a musicality front, and I think that's why they took this match. Well, let's watch judges' commentary and see how it went. I do have a little translator that I can use, but it was not keeping up the way I wanted it to, and the subtitles were translated pretty decently, so we're about to see here. So my gut tells me KOSE 8ROCKS took this. Is it a shutout? There is a potential. Maybe it's a 5-1. I would hope it's a 5-1. I don't want RoyalBrats to get shut out again. I think that's just me though. There. Okay. Okay. Whoa! 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 I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy for RoyalBrats. Don't get me wrong. And theirs was very competitive. I'm very surprised. I'm just being real. I'm very surprised that they won. I don't know how much in comparison to how clean KOSE's was. Wow. Okay. here's the thing. I just like as an individual who really appreciates concepts and really appreciates when people pursue different avenues. I'm really glad this worked for them this time. I will say that. Based on feedback, of course, we'll determine, do I think that the judge judged it in a way that makes the most logistical sense? I mean, I'm going to assume the natural answer is going to be yes, because they're sitting there and I'm sitting here, right? I understand that. There's a natural respect to that. I am very curious as to that back in those judges voting for RoyalBrats for that. Interesting. KOSE 8ROCKS, this set was amazing though. It really was. Okay, let's take a look here. So on the side of skill, gave it to KOSE. Creation and choreography went to RoyalBrats. Style was KOSE, and perfection went to KOSE. Wow. See, RoyalBrats, I'd give them, I mean, if anybody were to get a 10, I would say that would just tie that bad boy.
僕は後世の勝ちにしてしまったんですが、本当にここはコースつけがたくて、avex
It was difficult.
っていう速度でよく見るカウントだけの始まり方をして、それできたかと思って、前々回の見せ方にすごく近い、ちょっとそういう見せ方かなと思ったら、今度はしっかり後半に向けて、だんだん圧を出してくるダンサーとして、ダンスで見せきるっていうことをしてくれたので、作品としてすごく充実感もあったし、見応えもあったし、なおかつ手法も新しかったので、前に進んでるなっていう感じがしてすごく良かったです。で、後世の方はブレイキンをアフリカンで見せるっていうコンセプトだったのかなと思ったんですが、彼らってすごくブレイキンの実力がすごくありながらも、そこにとどまらずに常にそのブレイキン自体の可能性を広げていこうっていう姿勢がものすごく見れてて、なおかつもう見せ方も新しいし実力もあって、おっと思うところは何かその散りばめられてるっていう作品としてすごく充実感がありました。迷ったんだけど、なんかね、あんまり考えずに点数をつけていって結局同点になって、で項目で後世が1項目多くて後世の勝ちになったんですが、本当にここはもう僅差、もう本当に僅差で。
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the scoring was close because both were great. And it should be recognized as such. They were great for different reasons. Like, truly. Okay. RoyalBrats won by, of course, 1 point difference. Let me see, 9 and 8. Where in the world are you deducting off of this off of synchronicity? Goodness. Oh, man, let me see. Okay, 9, 8, 8. 8. So she gave it choreography and perfection. She gave it to KOSE 8ROCKS.
私はavex RoyalBratsに入れさせていただきました。まずavexですね。シンプルな動きで始まったので、あれまたこれは以前の感じかなみたいなことになるのかなと思ったら、なんとも言えない拍の取り方から。
I'm assuming they may be referencing accelerate, right?
振り付けの構成だったりとか、どうやって練習してったのかとか、もうそこもとっても気になるような作品自体の魅力を感じて、拍を刻んでいる本当にシンプルな作りが人の心に本当刺さる、記憶に刻まれていくみたいな印象的な作品になっているなと思いました。ルーティーンの揃え方が、その角度だったりとか、もうどこまでもシンクロさせるっていう意地というか、なんかそういうものもとても感じました。後世の方ですね。衣装とメイクと世界観をこういうものを今回伝えたいんですよっていうのがすごく直球でまず伝わってきて、であと音と踊り出した時のイメージが、バッチリ合ってましたね。コレオの中でもっとスピーディーに展開すればよかったのになみたいなところの惜しさを感じてしまったところがあって、フロアに入ったりとかのその安定感とかっていうのはもちろんあるんですけど、そのスピード感がもうちょっとあったり、あとソロの持っていき方とかっていうのもう一個世界観を出しつつの何かがあったんじゃないかなっていう、なんかその惜しさを感じてしまったっていうところがありまして、ただ 点数的には本当に僅差で、もうギリギリで、終わってしまった。勝敗がついた時に、そうであったみたいな、私の中でもどっちが勝ったんだろうみたいな、なんかそんな感じのマッチでした。最終的に両方を思い返した時に、その本当にこう記憶に刻まれ。
That's so interesting because I literally said I felt like there were more moments that stuck with people with KOSE 8ROCKS than with RoyalBrats. But as a side note, this really should show though the difference of culture and exposure to what you're used to seeing. So for me, I'm used to seeing stuff like things that are different are more in my wheelhouse a lot of times. So like people who do hip hop or street styles in a contemporary lens, that's where the foundation of my choreographic identity comes from. So for some people it's so new and profound, and then for others it's like I live that, you know? And so for me, seeing something from avex RoyalBrats is something I've been seeing for years, not this very new thing. And Accelerate, honestly, I think conceptually was more enchanting than what we saw here, but the difficulty of the polyrhythms in play were more difficult in this case. And then with KOSE 8ROCKS, that's the tricky thing, is that you are placating with two different styles that are represented, and they're both showcased at a really high level. So I guess the question is, how do you itemize it? It's going to go off of a judge's experience and what they've seen and what they have not seen before. Just like in my case, I don't know the scope of these judges. Just like, for me, I'm still growing, and there's going to be certain things that I'm exposed to in this league that maybe I've never seen before, but it's something that they've seen for years. So it kind of placates back and forth. Hence, that regardless with your judges, regardless of how objective you can be, a lot of times you have to measure it off of your own exposure of what you've researched and what you've been a part of in the sense whenever you have overlapping street styles in play. So, what did he put? How many 10s did he give? Oof. So many 10s. He gave them a 10 on creation, choreography, style, and perfection.
は明るいけどやるブラッツに出ましたのブラッツなんですけど、最初またブズの作品かなって一瞬思ったんだけども、これで麻痺していく感じ、広がっていく感じが逆再生してからの展開がね、すごい面白くて。
I really loved that moment. That was really cool. It's so interesting that this round they're like, we see it, it's so varied, because yes, the techniques are done differently, the dynamics are done differently, but the overall construction of it is, it's the same across the board. And there's nothing wrong with that. It works with the concept, but normally they would be like, oh, it's too one-dimensional for me. I gotta stop predicting what the judges are thinking, because I'm just gonna be disappointed. Because when I think they're gonna assume one way, it just does not work out that way.
今回はテーマが抑圧からの解放、スピリット。ロックスすごいなんか最近こう変えようとしてるのがすごい見えてて、俺すごい結構良かったと思ってて、なんか彼がすごい立ちもまたね、やろうとしてるし、こうやって作品によっていろいろ演じたりする感じもなんか幅を広げようとしてる感じがすごい良くなってきてると思うんで、なんか今回もどんどん試してる感じがすごい見えるんで、ブレイキンとアフリカンとかね、民族舞踊をなんかこうミックスしたようなロックスもね、前はなんかグラフィティみたいな作品やったと思えばこんな気になったとすごい幅の広がっていく。
I will say there is a repeat in some of their transition that they chose to use. Now that I'm looking here, and the structure of how they've done it, it does feel like there's overlap in how groups choose to transition, but it's still impressive, man.
シンプルだけどどんどんドンピシャに潜っていく感じの、潜り切ってやりきった感じがやっぱり、印象が強かったなと思ったんで、これはロイヤルバッツに入れました。
The only thing he gave KOSE 8ROCKS was for the scale.
僕は avex さんの方に点数を入れました。まず avex さんの方なんですけど、本番 前の映像インタビューでダンスはもちろんなんだけどこう音にも注目してくださいっていう風に淳平くんが言ってて、なんか何なんだろうなって思ってたんですけど、もう見てそういうことかって思いま
That's
した
right. They were able to talk about like what to focus on in their
印
routine.
象がまず見終わった後にあります。このアイデアをなんかちょっと正直見終わった後になんでこれ思いつかなかったんだちょっと悔しいって思うぐらい、裏切られたような印象がありました。これって、クリエーションが個人的には一番こう目立つような作品だったかなと思うんですけど、スキルの面でも例えばもういくつか、下手で縦位置に並んだ状態からこうハンドウェーブっていうか止めながらですけど手でウェーブを通しながら横に移動していくところとか、あとは巻き戻し8、7、6、5っていう動きを巻き戻しながら行く、あそこもすごい難しいことしてるし、多分ダンサーから見てもすごいなんかスキル高いって思うし、ダンスやってない方が見てもすごいって思うショーだと思うので、なんか、そこのバランスというかなんか素晴らしいなと思いました。対するコース8ロックスさんなんですけど、今回はメンバーの勇気を中心にした組み技がベースにあって、でそのレベルの高さというかやってることとんでもないことやってるなっていう、上手の方に勇気と両スピンがアクロバットで出ていってからの前面で4人のルーティン、フットワーク床でフロアでやるルーティンがあったと思うんですけど、そこのつなぎ方とかもめちゃめちゃスムーズで個人的にはすごい好きなポイントでした。自分たちが一番こうレペゼンしてるジャンルというかに、何か他のものを混ぜるときに、今回で言ったらちょっとアフリカンなそういうのを混ぜていたと思うんですけど、もちろんブレイキンに関しては何も言うことがないんだけど、何か違うものを混ぜたときに、吉と出るか強と出るか、今回はちょっと自分たちのブレイキンのスタイルにはうまくはまってなかったかなっていう印象があります。最後に B ガールのココアがこう飛び込み前転で前に出てきたところがあると思うんですけど、もちろんちょっとミスってもその後のポージングというか繋いだのはさすがだなっていう印象ではあるんですけど、ちょっともったいなかったな。avex さんの先ほども言ったそのアイデア、ショーのアイデアっていう意味で、クリエーションでもコレオグラファーはもちろんですけど、あと完成度っていう部分でちょっとそこも、avex さんが勝っていたかなと思い、このサードマッチに関しては avex さんが勝った。
So all of these judges are raving over what RoyalBrats did, but it's just a more expanded version of what they did for Accelerate. Like, I feel like the formations, a lot of the techniques that they used, there was an overlap there. The concept was different. So why weren't we like, why are we raving and gawking about it now when like 2 rounds ago it was very similar? But this one of course had more complexity, but also they did reference the material to the guy who's featured on the track too. So there is a level of influence. The concept's great, but it's not original either. But I know with KOSE 8ROCKS, it's not an original idea either. Like, I understand that. Hence why there's nothing new under the sun. In terms of completeness, I can understand that with RoyalBrats, yet they also made you feel like you wanted more. So it's just, for me, it's a bit difficult for me to be like, yeah, I could totally agree with you guys whenever they didn't extend the same sentiments to them 2 rounds ago when they should have, or maybe they did and it was just, they were just gawking about Katakawa so much, because for me, Katakawa really showed out. Like, that was a very, very great battle from them. RoyalBrats did repeat a lot of techniques, throughout that set, so I understand that may have been simpler on the content side, but the cleanliness of the staging and spacing was still divine on both, so I don't know. Like, here's the thing, I'm really happy that RoyalBrats won, do not get me wrong. I just, it's hard for me to be like really happy that the judges liked it whenever they weren't fans of what they did two rounds ago, or maybe they were and it just got overshadowed. I don't know, you let me know, but I think that's the hardest part for me. And I also know there's a couple of these guys who are not a part of that judging panel, so I completely understand that too. So let me see this. Okay.
私は
avex ロイヤルブラッツさんに入れさせていただきました。この戦いは本当に迷いまして、avex さんは、ザ・ダンサーの練習風景のようなものをこうして作品として見せてくる avex ならではの遊び心があって楽しいクリエーション、そしてアイソレーションの使い方もそうですし、普通ではなくて一つひねって新しい発想で見せてくれるのがさらにダンスの可能性を広げてくれるんじゃないかなっていうので、新しいことに挑戦した avex ロイヤルブラッツさんに今回出させていただいたんですけど、KOSEさんもものすごく安定感もあってスキルもあって、クオリティも高くてすごくまとまってた感じがあったんですけど、やっぱりもう一つ新しいエッセンスっていうものが見たかったのかな。すごく良かったんですけど、その一つこのavexさんと比べてしまうと新しいことを取り入れることがもちろん全てではないんですけど、少し新しいエッセンスが見たかったかなと感じました。なのですごく悩んだんですけど、avex ロイヤルブラッツさんに入れさせていただきました。
So once again, it went off of concept. Both are great, don't get me wrong. They're wonderful. These thumbnails look freaking sick. But if you're looking at, she was like, oh, this is a concept that only, RoyalBrats could do. That's not an original concept. Maybe their transitions and their dynamics, I would say, definitely integrate in a really nice, fresh way. But the construct of one of the entire sections was in tribute to Kenichi, not in a... it wasn't original. You know what I mean? So I think, it's hard for me whenever I hear it's like, oh, they're the only group that can do that. And it could be a translation thing. They're not the only group that can do that, because where do you think they got it from? Anyway, but I mean, in this round, it's totally fine. I'm glad RoyalBrats finally got a win. I mean, I was definitely a little bit on the sad side for them, because I like their Iceman set. And they just... and they even got audience vote too, but it was DYM and their freaking essence and style that trumped that, and anyway, but yeah, this will be something that, I'm definitely intrigued on what RoyalBrats is going to progress with in the future, because this is the second time we've seen them kind of divulge into more of that quirky technical execution that we've seen, and I liked it both times. I think I just had more cons than pros for the judges' feedback for this one, I think, this time. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more D.LEAGUE, I'm always actively reacting to it until I'm caught up, and then as they release the matches is when I will take my look and give my overall analysis of it. It's been really fun. I do feel like with this round in particular, I am definitely not on the same page with the judges on some of these calls, specifically the first round, and then this round too. I mean, as much as I love the matches, when you look at all the components of what they're supposed to be judging on and the justification of why they picked who they picked, regardless of how close it is, I don't feel it doesn't quite settle in the place of, okay, I understand, agree to disagree. I think that's the tricky thing for me. But you guys let me know, especially those of you who understand the context of where the judges are coming from. That would be great. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that KOSE got audience, though. I hope that was encouraging for them. And I know Sam, it does look like out of all the judges, Sam and I vibe the most, because he also voted for Valuance for similar reasons that I stated as to why I would have voted for them. And then, of course, everybody voted Katakawa. And then he also voted KOSE 8ROCKS in similar ways that I would have. So, but all that to say, thank you guys again for watching. I am Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!